Good morning. My name is Dr. Jill Elliott. I work at West Village Vet in the Village on 14th Street and 8th Avenue, and I'm a holistic veterinarian. I do conventional veterinary medicine. I use it all the time, but if I see there's a problem, I like to integrate what I call my holistic veterinary medicine. I use many different modalities, and I'm going to talk about them today. The first one I wanted to talk about is using cold laser, low-level laser. A laser stands for light amplification stimulated emission rays. It's a very non-invasive. It was used by chiropractors for years, and it still is for years and years and years and years. And about probably 10, 12 years ago, more like 12 years ago, the laser industry decided they were missing a big area that they could be selling their machines to. So they started approaching veterinarians. And sure enough, veterinarians got the message and saw how great it was. And so they started incorporating it into their practice. There are many lasers on the market. The one I use is called the Erchonia PL5. I'll hold it up if you can see it. It has two heads that detach. And what that means is I can shine it in two different places on the pet when I do it, rather than one area. What I do is when I use it, I dial in different numbers, which are up here. And I usually dial in 4 numbers at a time and then run the lights over the body for 3 minutes each time. And I usually do a series of 4 numbers for 3 minutes, which is a total of 12 minutes when I treat an animal. I'll talk about the benefits of it, and then I'll talk about how I use it. So there are so many benefits. It relieves pain. It takes away inflammation. It helps improve nerve function. It helps increase vascularity, blood flow to an area, which is important. If there's a damaged area, the blood, the oxygen that comes to that area is very important. It can stop muscle spasms, speed tissue repair, increase tissue and collagen to an area. So things like cruciate rupture where there's collagen damage can help with that. And basically reduces all inflammation anywhere in the body. So most problems start with inflammation. And so this takes down the inflammation and helps the body to restore. That's what prednisone does. That's why they give prednisone so much to animals, because they want to reduce the inflammation. And although prednisone does that very effectively, it also has some damaging problems, which many people know it has some after effects. I mean, effects like increased thirst, increased hunger, can lower the immunity. So better to use this than that, because this has no negative side effect ever. The interesting thing about my laser is because of the kind it is, it's called the Erchonia PL5000. It doesn't require anybody to wear goggles. So it has no damaging effect. It can't hurt you, can't hurt your animal. You don't have to worry about it. Although I only do it for 3 minutes, I could leave it on half the day and it wouldn't do any damage. I wouldn't do that, but you could. So that's what I love about my laser. In order to learn how to use this, there's a neurologist, his name is Dr. Bill Inman, and he ran courses for veterinarians only. And so I did a 4 or 5 day course with him, and he showed us the benefits of it. And that's why I use this. He had tested all the lasers on the market and he thought this was the best. So I went with his expertise. He's the neurologist. What it does actually is the different numbers that I put in tell the body what to do. It stimulates the mitochondria. The mitochondria of the cell is the captain of the cell, tells it what to do. It stimulates the mitochondria and actually tells the cell what to do. And so it says, take away inflammation. It says, bring more vascularity to this, area. And the cells actually then communicate with each other all around. So if you have a problem on the right side and you treat the left side, the right side will still cure. So animals that have, let's say, 2-sided, let's say hip issues, if I just shined it in one hip, it would help the other hip. And his theory, Dr. Inman's theory, was that there's a neural network, like a net over the whole body. And so once you charge one side, it communicates with the other side. It's best for musculoskeletal problems. It's excellent for that, which is what I use it for mostly. Animals come in limping, or they have a back issue, or they're in pain, they have neck pain. It's terrific for that, and it really helps. But it's also terrific for all kinds of things like trauma, burns. It heals burns. It will heal pain. It's great for pain. I use it on myself all the time. If I stub my toe or I bang my knee or I wake up and something hurts me, I just whip out my laser, and 15 minutes after using it, the pain is gone, which is amazing. It's also amazing for non-healing wounds. I had a dog that came into me was a very old client who came back to me. Her dog it was a German Shepherd, and its dog had an infection on the end of its tail, and he had to have the end of it amputated. So they did that. And then he went for wound care with her veterinarian, and she'd go every 2 or 3 days to have the tail looked at, the wound, the bandage replaced. But every time she went back, the vet saw it wasn't healing. So she would debride the end of the tail, which means scrape off the very end, and then put the bandage back on and do whatever she did with medication, and it didn't heal. So the client came to me and she said, "Can you help my dog?" And I said, "I think I can." I did the laser. 3 or 4 days later, she went to the vet, and I said, "Now don't have her debride it. Don't have her touch it. Just look at it." The vet looked at it, and it was 50% healed. So the vet said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." She came back the next week. I did another laser treatment. She went back to her vet that week. It was totally healed. So, I saw miracles like that. And it was great. I used to work at a practice years ago, and that's where they use the laser in chiropractic. And I kept seeing all these miracles. So that's why I went for the training. So that was a great one. I also had a dog come in. The dog had been paralyzed, a young dog, about 2 years old, and it was paralyzed and had a problem with its spine. He went for surgery, and they told him the surgery, of course, would correct it. But after the surgery, he still couldn't walk. So the owner was devastated. Another client of mine had recommended him. He came to me, and I was afraid to use the chiropractic, which I'll talk about later, because the discs seemed to be a little bit bulging in one area, and I didn't want to go over the body with that. So I just used the laser. And this guy was really sweet. He used to carry the dog in. And he said to me, "For the next treatment, would you mind doing it in my car?" He had a big SUV. He said, "Because I'm afraid to keep carrying the dog in and out and in and out." So I said, "No problem." So I'd go outside. I treat the dog. Once a week he came. I treat the dog, go in. He'd come back the next week. About the 6th week in, he came. And while I was treating the dog started to urinate on the blanket. So he said, "Oh, let me change the blanket." So he took the dog, he put him on the sidewalk, and he was changing the blanket, and the dog got up and started to walk. And we both went, "What happened?" And it was amazing. So he did come for some more treatments, but that was amazing. And, you could always say, "Oh, we would have walked anyway," and, all of that, but you really have to give credit to the laser. Who knows if he would have walked anyway. So thank God. So those are the kind of miracles I see all the time. And with the laser, it's not only for those kind of things, but it also can help for things like kidney disease and liver disease and other internal organs. It can help with irritable bowel syndrome. I've seen that with cats where they told me they were going to put the cat to sleep, and this helped. And I don't know if I mentioned it also helps with things like mange, skin issues, allergies. It's not my main way of treating it, but it can definitely help. I had a dog come in, and the dog had mange, which is a mite, Sarcoptes mite, and she did everything. She did shampoos and she did medicine, and the dog still was itching like crazy. And mange is catching. It can be transferred to people or pets. So she brought the dog up to me for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it did clear up. So again, the laser probably killed the mites, and the dog was able to go on. So again, I'm a strong believer in it. If I can, I use that first with most problems. If a dog is on some medication, I don't have them take it off. They can continue on the medication. But I do recommend they do consider the laser, and in some cases. So that's basically, the treatment. I usually suggest anywhere between 4 and 12 treatments. If there's a really severe problem, I will suggest they do 2 in one day, an hour apart. The hour lets the body rest, go back to stasis again, and then do another one. But that's for severe problems. If not, 1 a week for a number of weeks, or whatever they can do. The treatments are cumulative. So if you skip a week, it's still there in the body, and it will pick up where it left off. So if people schedule or don't allow them to come every week, it's fine. They can spread it out however works for them.